golf season's fast approaching, but I did see something really interesting the other day. I was taking a look at the golf Reddit and somebody posted about this Swing Logic SLX Micro Sim. It's a very interesting concept. It's basically a device that allows you to emulate a simulator at home. Now, a lot of people have the space for an actual simulator, something that might cost thousands of dollars between organizing the space and purchasing all the stuff you need. I don't have the space anywhere in or around my house for that. It's always been really difficult to actually kind of play and stay in the golf mode over the winter. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, that's very interesting, because not only does it seem like it's a decent training aid, but it also shows you some interesting information about the swing as well after you make it. The purchase is only $200, which is extremely cheap in my opinion. I mean, I've never really looked at something like this before, but that seems like that's a really good deal. So I, of course, jumped on it. Show you some swings, show you some live action with it as well. Give you some things that I did really like about it, but I'll also give you some things that I'm not necessarily in love with as well. So before we actually take a look at the product, what might not be obvious is that all you're doing is buying this piece of technology that's going to simulate a golf swing. Then you need to use that technology in another piece of technology to show you everything else. So at first I thought I was paying $200 for all of that, but in reality it's the club and the sensor that goes on that club, and then the rest of the work is done within this program from what I can tell. Still, it's a perfectly good deal, but after I was taking a look at this E6 Golf Connect app, I was like, you have to pay for a lot of this stuff. I'm not necessarily too happy with that. Luckily though, they seem to have a partnership with the Swing Logic company, the company that makes the hardware. So you're actually able to get a year of it for free with very limited course options and stuff in general. But it's still a very good place to start. And honestly, after just 2 days of using it, I'm totally sold on this. I could easily see myself paying for it. It's only $10 a month, which is kind of a lot, but yeah, I could see myself paying for that for 3 months out of the year. You know, kind of December through March, get to see all this different stuff. The coolest part about this is some of the courses are insanely good. Like, they're really detailed. It feels and looks like a real golf course. It's really well done. I've never really heard of this E6 Golf Connect thing before. Kind of awkward. Its name also a name of a ball by Bridgestone, so it's kind of hard to find info on it. But so far so good. I'm really satisfied with that portion of it. That doesn't really have anything to do with the product I purchased here, but it does seem inexorably connected, so you kind of can't have one without the other, I suppose. But yeah, I did try the 1 year free thing. It's all there. It's in like this little documentation that tells you how to walk through everything that needs to be set up. So let's take a look at what actually comes with the purchase. When I made the purchase, the thing that I saw that was the most noticeable was this device. And this is kind of what I wanted the most. Like, even if nothing else worked, I would have been satisfied just buying this, because what this is actually a swing aid, like a trainer of some sort. It's supposed to be the weight of a club, but it's just much shorter. Got this kind of pull out thing here as well to kind of give you the sensation that you're swinging a full club. They said specifically don't ever swing it like this for whatever reason, probably because it'll just kind of come out. But it's got a golf grip on it, and it is quite heavy. It feels exactly the same weight as like an iron or something like that. Does not feel like a driver or a wood, so that has been a bit of an issue for me. But yeah, and compared to an iron, it feels almost identical. Brand new, really nice tacky grip here, so I'm really happy with that. But the real technology comes right here. So you can actually see it's got like almost like a chip interface here, and that is the crux of it. So this is all like a physical, like a mechanical thing, but to use the simulator portion, this is what you're after here. So this is the sensor, but the way it works is you snap it on here and it lines up, but you put it on here and then it kind of like has a little bit of a magnetism to it. And so the goal is to have the mini USB thing pointed towards the top of the club, towards the butt, and then you kind of just put it in here, and then you can pull it down and you'll hear it lock. And now that's like stuck on there. Like, you cannot get that off. It won't fall off at all. And so that's like the main way you use this product. But if you don't want to use it this way, there's also a few other options. And before I talk about this, I do just want to say I've already bounced this off some things, and it's perfectly fine. I mean, I thought this part was where the sensor was, but this is just like the weight from what I can tell. This part here is just the weight. This is the sensor, so, you know, I don't really even think this part matters unless you somehow like snap this off. It looks like it's like completely filled with glue along the seam there, but yeah, this part it's honestly probably just padded here just in case you bounce it off something. But so I do have a little cut in it, but yeah, it's not really been an issue. But so the other way you could use it is you can take one of these things that they also give you here and attach it to your own club. So I was trying this out for like chipping, putting on my actual 56, and yeah, it's just like, it's kind of this like a metal, or it's like a rubber cage, It's actually really hard to get on and off, which definitely shows you that it's not going to slide or anything on the club. But you just attach it to the club right underneath the grip. It's probably a little low even. And then the same thing, it just kind of slides on and then it locks in place, and that's it. And so now it's on the club, and I guess you can kind of move it up even when it's on the club if you want. But yeah, you have to kind of like pull this rubber thing out and then it'll let go and you can get it. Pretty obvious once you see it, but it's actually really hard to get on and off. And on top of that, they also give you one of the, well, more than one of these, a few of these. I think they give you like 3 of these. It's the exact same concept in terms of how it interfaces with the sensor. And then I think you're supposed to put it on the club like this, and it kind of is tapered in a way that it won't be able to slide down. It worked really well on my old putter with a really old shaft, but it's way too small for the shafts I have now. And I don't really feel like putting it on my graphite shafts. It doesn't feel like it's the right option. But they also give you some like adhesive that you can put on this too if you want. This one did slide a bit, but I haven't really been using it anyway. I mean, all you really need is this. Like you can, I've been putting and chipping with this as well. Seems perfectly fine. I mean, you'll see in the footage, it's not great. The putting thing is very hard to get used to. I can't really feel like it's, I've always kind of worried about that. That's one of the main reasons I never wanted to like go to an actual simulator, because I'm like, how do you putt at a simulator? Like the hard part about putting is like lining up the putt and getting the distance right. And when you're just putting in a square room without any indication about what the break is, then kind of seems like really contrived, but it's still cool. I mean, it's still a nice little aid to practice and stuff. But so let's take a look at some live footage of me using it, and then we'll give some thoughts at the end about what I did like and what I did not like. Is not connected. Cool thing about that program is it has like a driving range feature, but it also has golf courses, which I'm going to show you in a second. But you saw a couple swings there, and you might have already seen one swing. It was like not registering that I was swinging. And the way that works is you have to kind of like put the club in like the setup position and then kind of almost quickly get going. So if you kind of have like a waggle or you're in a setup for a little bit too long, it will kind of stop registering it. And that happens to me a lot. One of the big reasons why I wanted to purchase this was so I could actually take like a full swing in the house, kind of just to practice my grip and just kind of feel the swing weight through the swing, even if it's not hitting balls, which obviously I don't have access to in my house. I felt like having something like this would be perfect. So I've always wanted something that's kind of just like a really short club that's the appropriate weight that allows me to take full swings. So this is exactly what I wanted. And you'll also hear that clacking noise. That is a nice little training thing there where it shows you exactly where the ball would be getting hit by this club. And I assume that's what that's meant to sound like. It's meant to sound like the club hitting a ball. And you could tell, like where in the swing do you hear that? That's kind of where the whole swing is breaking through the ball. And that has helped me a lot. I've really enjoyed that. It's a little loud, to be honest. The TV is pretty loud and the camera's just far away from it, so you can't really hear that, but you hear that clacking noise pretty loud. So it's a nice little device, and in general, I like the concept of everything with that club itself. So let's take a look at some of the actual footage from a golf course. Wow.
distance to the pin is 5 feet and 0 inches. Ready. The distance to the pin is 373.3 yards. Ready. Ready. The distance to the pin is 173.7 yards. Ready.
Wow, pulled.
The distance to the pin is 55 feet. Ready. Ready. Distance to the pin is 162.8 yards. Ready. Ready.
What the hell? So the main feature I was really interested in is all that data you see on the screen. And again, that kind of just seems to come with the E6 app thing. Another really nice thing about that app though is that you can actually use that on Windows. I don't necessarily know why, but there seems like a lot of this golf tech is only usable on Mac or iOS or just cell phones in general. And I don't want any part of that. When I'm doing something in the house, I want it being done on my actual computer. And I was able to install it on my laptop there, and I just plugged in HDMI cable to the TV, and now I can play it on the TV. I don't have a lot of space in this room, but it's pretty good. I have an even better area downstairs with a much bigger television, which would probably be an even cooler experience. I really love the program itself because it actually shows you these courses in detail. You can have flyovers and you can go anywhere you want on the hole. The way you choose how you aim is you have to use like a mouse or something that you see to kind of move the direction you're aiming. You can figure out what your shot shape is and play the hole like any other. Like I said, the chipping and putting isn't great, and I think that's just me. The way I like to chip, especially, is I kind of like to feel that turf, feel that interaction before I hit the ball. So I'm kind of not able to do that with this club. That's why I was thinking about doing it with my sand wedge, but just kind of a pain to keep taking it on and off. So I probably won't do that. I'll probably just sacrifice something there. But yeah, the main thing is that information on the screen. And I hope that it's going to be something that will help me improve because it does actually summarize all the data and rate your swing. I've seen like as low as like 60s and 50s, but a couple of these shots you see on film here were in the 90s, and that seems really good. I don't know necessarily how well my swing is playing out mechanically. Obviously, I don't hit the ball very far. It seems like these distances are pretty true as well. There's sometimes it's strange. It's like, I hit that 5-iron like 190 yards almost. There's no way I'll come anywhere close to doing that with a real 5-iron. So I'm not really sure what the difference is. Obviously, the fact that I'm just swinging without hitting a ball makes it a lot easier. I'm able to just focus on actual swing speed and mechanics in the swing and not have to worry about that all lining up to strike the golf ball, which is why this is truly not ever going to help me get better at golf, because hitting golf balls is the way you get better at golf. So, I kind of didn't really think about that when I made this purchase. I was like, oh, this is great. I'll be actually getting better at golf while I'm doing this. But this kind of feels a little bit more like a video game. I'd say it's probably like something like 55% video game and 45% actual swing trainer and helping you get better at golf. But the info on the screen is the number one thing I wanted to see there. So let's talk about what there is on there. So you have this row of 6 boxes. The leftmost one is total distance, which is another one of those things that I never really understood a lot in a simulator. Like, I mean, what's it basing that off? Obviously, we know the carry, that's 185 for that club there on the screen, but what makes you think that I'm going to get 20 yards a roll? That seems like a lot. You can actually adjust like the fairway firmness and the green firmness and things like pin position and the speed of the greens, and you basically control anything you want. You can control what tees you play on as well in the app, but that seems like 20 yards a roll, almost more like about 19 and a half yards a roll. That I don't feel like I ever get that at Summit Hills, at least. So, but you also see in the middle there the actual swing club head speed. Whenever I saw it like 80 something, I'm like, wow, that's very interesting. I mean, I've never known how fast I've actually swung a golf club. Obviously, I don't, have a lot of distance in my game. That's always been a big issue. But after looking at this, I'm starting to think like, I think honestly a lot of that might just come from my ball striking, because it does seem like based on this weight and swing trainer here that I'm actually making good swings at times, and the simulation is telling me I should be getting way more distance out of my shots than I do. So who knows, maybe that's something to think about. Next on the right of the club head speed is the actual backspin, and that's another one that just doesn't really make any sense. I don't really understand how you could be registering backspin when you're not actually hitting a golf ball. I don't fully understand the math behind it. And of course, like, doesn't that depend on the golf ball a lot? Like, you play like a $5 golf ball and a $1 golf ball, obviously one's going to spin differently. But the thing that I was potentially the most interested in seeing was the box to the right of that, and that is the side spin. So, last season I spent a lot of mental effort in trying to hit draws and trying to make the ball go left, for better or for worse, obviously for worse at sometimes, but it's very interesting to see that. And the fact that it knows that simply from, I guess face orientation, but also swing path, it doesn't say anything about swing path. And I don't know if maybe there's some way to add that. I don't think so, but the swing path was kind of the big thing that I really would have liked to see on here. I've seen a lot of people at like simulators and at fitting sessions, and it seems like the thing that they learn the most about their game is the swing path and the consistency of that. So definitely not seeing that there is kind of unfortunate, but something I did not even know that was ever anything anybody cared about is the box directly underneath that. The box to the right of the top one there, that's just how many swings you've taken, so that's kind of irrelevant. But the one below that actually shows swing tempo, which I've never heard a single person ever talk about, and it's a functional ratio. So that one says 3.2 to 1, which is interesting, but apparently the ideal ratio is 3 to 1, meaning for 3 seconds of backswing, there's 1 second of downswing. I don't exactly know how long a backswing typically takes, but I've had some really strange numbers on here, like over 4 as well, and it's like red. It's like, don't do that. But to me, like, I've always felt like the slower I swing on the backswing, the better I make contact. So I'm not exactly sure if that's some kind of universal truth, but I do worry that they're factoring that heavily into what they believe that score should represent. And then the final box on the right there, you can't really see it too well, but that says square, meaning the face orientation when the ball would be struck. And I've typically I've been working a lot on having a closed face through contact. Obviously, isn't perfect, but it's helped me with the shape I want. And you can also see when you have a open face, and you could definitely tell, I've been learning a lot about what my swing mechanics look like when that happens as well. But yeah, I think if I just strive to get like a 99 or 100 on that score, that should mean I'm swinging more consistently, right? Like, I mean, I have to trust this device. I don't know if it's trustworthy, though. That's the question. But honestly, the entire purchase has been very interesting, even if it's just a video game, even if it's 99% video game. It's just kind of cool to just be able to play golf indoors, man, like to actually play golf. Like, there's video games out there that allow you to play golf, but like to actually swing something that feels like a golf club and feels like you're making a swing with, it's like, yeah, that's really cool. So I'm pretty happy with the purchase. I mean, $200, you really kind of can't go wrong, but there's a couple of things that I definitely do want to bring up that I'm not too happy with. One is, honestly, it's a little longer than I expected it to be. I have this fans in every single room in this house, and it's just so hard to actually swing a club because I always end up bonking it off the fans. The other thing I already mentioned was kind of how loud that clicking noise was. I had no idea what that was. The first time I swung, I thought I broke it immediately or something like that, because it made a really strange noise, and it sounded like it was, the club starts vibrating because it's making this kind of mechanical in and out factor, and it's making that noise from that. And so obviously I guess that's supposed to be there to help you with the swing tempo and feel like you're actually striking. dragging a golf ball, but honestly, I'm a little worried about the longevity of this item. That, especially because of how loud it is. And sometimes it's kind of like it sounds a little strange, but the more I've been swinging it, the more I've been noticing something really weird. So you see this part here, this is actually coming out at times. So, you know, after a few swings, it separates and it's just like screwed in there, I guess. That's probably this whole thing is probably just screwed into this club. That's not what you want to see. I feel like I really don't want to see that separating. And I've just been kind of, you know, twisting it and screwing it back in, and you can kind of just hold it and turn the button and it works too. But yeah, after like a full, you know, if I played an entire 18 holes on one of those courses, yeah, it's like there's a couple, like, it's like an inch of space in there. So I don't know if that's a good thing or what. You know, I'm trying to think like why they're able to get away with selling this for $200 when it seems to work insanely well. I mean, I think maybe it's just a really niche market, because I think a lot of people like who are serious about golf, they actually have like a simulator set up. But honestly, it comes with like instructions as well, and the instructions are pretty good. Like they got like illustrations and everything. So I would say that I did really enjoy the instructions, but it's almost like kind of you can tell that it's not made by people who are native English speakers. There's actually like typos as well. They literally spelled model number wrong. Like, I mean, that's kind of embarrassing. It's not like it's not that big of a deal, but I would say it's actually easier to set up than I expected. Tell you, I'm really shocked at how good this is for $200. So the only thing I could think of is that, you know, this device there must be something. You know what I mean? Like whenever you see something that's too good to be true, you always wonder why that is. And you know, for me, as of right now, 2 days into using this, I'm really satisfied. But you know, feel free to leave a comment if you want to hear my thoughts. Like if you're watching this down the road and you're thinking about buying this, I absolutely will reply to every single comment. So for me, the main reason I purchased this was because I can't take a full swing in my house pretty much anywhere in the house. So I am a little disappointed with how long this ends up being, but I did find a pretty good spot to stand with it where I can take a full swing. It's definitely impacting my swing. I feel like sometimes if I kind of take the normal follow through, I might accidentally hit it off the wall or something there. Yeah, overall, so far, really satisfied. The E6 program is amazing. You can actually like check out all different types of courses. They have like Troon and, you know, some really famous courses on there. They also have Pebble Beach and stuff that you can buy individually, and it's $300 to buy Pebble Beach. Like, what the hell are you talking about? I have to say, pretty satisfied. We'll see what the longevity is. Probably a little bit more like a video game than I should have expected it. You know what I mean? I kind of didn't really know what I was getting when I bought it, but I haven't been paid to make this review. This is all my own money that went into this. So hopefully this will help you guys. And again, if you have any questions whatsoever, please let me know. I will answer every single question. And you know, I think it's an interesting product, especially if you're somebody who is already strapped for space. And, you know, if you have the space to do a full simulator, you probably should just do that, because obviously hitting a golf ball, that's how you get good at golf. Swinging a club is not the same thing. So thank you for watching. We will see you in the next one.